All right, quickly here in today's video, we're gonna go over the low back extension exercise, okay? So we just got this rig, super common piece in most standard gyms, but a piece that a lot of people sometimes have struggle with performing and executing properly. And I just wanted to go through a few cues and coaching tips I would give when you're setting this up. So this is a great posterior chain dominant exercise, so primarily targeting the back side of the body, specifically into the hammies, glutes, and low back. And a lot of people fear this movement because they feel it a lot in their lumbar spine when they're performing the exercise, but that is also the area we're trying to target. So if you do deal with low back pain, this is a great exercise to increase exposure and tolerance to that position, okay? But there's a few tips and tricks I'm gonna give here that might help you execute this exercise a lot better. So typically you can send it up and then to increase the angle of the extension, and then this will slide out or in. Now you want this pad, some people find it a little different, but essentially a good landmark would be just in front of your hips, okay? Because we want the hips to still be the main fulcrum of where our body moves, okay? So we'll strap in, and I like to always coach and cue. You want to have pressure down on your feet into the pads and then up into the heels. Just like any hip bridges or anytime we're going through hip extension, you want to have a good dig into the heels to really engage the back side of the leg, okay? So I'll always set up, pushing my feet down and square, and then I'll lift my heels up, and then my knees should fall below the pad and my hips should fall below. Now, sometimes when people really feel it in the low back, they perform it more like a forward fold, okay? So you can see here, a lot of the action is coming from lumbar flexion, lumbar extension, okay? And that's definitely gonna work through those low back erectors and QLs more. So sometimes what I would like to cue to try to get more into the hips and up the chain into the low back is think crown of the head, long and away from you, okay? So I'm gonna really try to stretch out. You can see I kind of open up the rib cage a bit, crown of the head long, and then I'm gonna try to point it down and away. And then just naturally, you just saw the two movements change. Now I'm getting a lot more action in the hip versus just the low back. And then when I squeeze, come up, I get a good contraction in the glutes and hams, okay? So crown of the head far away, squeeze up, and that's perfect. And the goal here with the end on the concentric, so when I'm finishing my rep, is to just get the shoulders in line with the hip, okay? Sometimes you'll see people overreaching into excessive lumbar extension to the point the quads are coming off the pads, which again is not necessarily in this exercise, okay? So all you need, press the feet in, dig the heels up, good engagement. I'm thinking crown of the head long, okay, pretty neutral spine, and then I'm gonna squeeze my hips and come up. Okay, so that's kind of the two main different points when you're trying to execute a low back extension to primarily focus hammy, glutes, low back, just making sure most of the action is still coming at the hip joint and not just the low back flexion and extension, okay? So there's a few tips on how to execute the low back extension exercise properly. Hopefully you enjoy. As always, you can subscribe and follow for more fitness and exercise tips.